Voy a presentarles al próximo speaker. Se llama Ulrich Blum. Él es codirector del departamento de Workplace Strategies en Zaha Hadid Architects, ZH Analytics and Insights. Ulrich es experto en diseño de lugares de trabajo paramétricos y análisis de espacios y ha estado involucrado en la planificación y el análisis de numerosos proyectos en América, en Europa, Medio Oriente, Asia y Australia, todo el mundo, encabezado las innovaciones en el análisis automatizado, impulsado por algoritmos y la planificación del espacio para proporcionar un diseño más riguroso y centrado en el usuario de lo que era posible anteriormente, mucho antes de cómo era posible anteriormente. Antes de unirse a Zaha Hadid Architects en 2011, trabajó para otras empresas líderes también, incluidas Oma Asia y Jerry Technologies en Hong Kong, y también ha enseñado estudios de diseño en la Universidad China de Hong Kong, en la Universidad de Hong Kong y en la Escuela de Arquitectura de Münster en Alemania, y además de dictar numerosas conferencias sobre diseño y análisis del lugar de trabajo en diferentes ciudades del mundo. Welcome to Argentina, welcome to WORKTECH Buenos Aires. Cada uno tiene sus dispositivos si necesita traducción, así que ahora sí, bienvenido, Ulrich. Uli.
Buenos dias. It's a pleasure to be here at the WORKTECH 25 in Buenos Aires. Thank you so much to Victor and his wonderful team to give me the chance to come here to speak to you. I want to introduce you to the idea how we start to use AI in architecture and how we can increasingly can use words to shape spaces and forms. Oops. No? Okay. I have the honor to work for Zaha Hadid Architects, an office that works from the smallest scale, you see here on the top left, a meeting room, to airports and entire cities. Initially, people said you cannot build the architecture that Zaha Hadid designed, but in the meantime, we have completed over 60 buildings everywhere in the world, and we have over 70 projects under construction at the moment. And I'm really proud to also see a building of Zaha Hadid here in Buenos Aires, which is, I think it's about to be completed. It's a wonderful project with really, really good workmanship, and I think it's a great icon for the city. This is a team that is building this amazing project. There are over 500 colleagues, and we have 55 nationalities, many Spanish speakers, over 45 languages, and over 10 programming languages are being used. And the reason why we need so many program languages is to make this kind of architecture possible. So we have people who can use this kind of parametric way of working. A lot of people sit in front of their screen and code all day. And it's really wonderful to be with this team. But I'm also teaching as a professor of architecture in the city of Münster, and I will show you a few projects at the end. We're living in a data-driven world, and we have been hoarding data for many years. People told us to collect data, and now often companies tell me they have all this data, they don't know what to do with it. After all, for years people said data is the new oil. But hold on, oil is dirty, it stinks. Why is oil so amazing? And oil only becomes something interesting with this, a refinery. So maybe AI is a refinery for data. I want to quickly go into AI and tell you how we see AI. It's not just ChatGPT-5, it's many different things. It's rule-based algorithms, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI, which is the LLMs everyone is talking about. Rule-based algorithms are predefined, narrow, and rigid, but they are controlled, accurate, and they are clear. Open-end. So on the other end, generative algorithms are open-ended, creative, and adaptive, but therefore they're unpredictable, error-prone, and opaque. So the first one is maybe like a hard-working engineer, and the latter one is like a diva. So in the office, we use the upper part as a problem solver, and the lower one as an innovation catalyst. So first, let me introduce you to the diva. When Zaha Hadid started, she was inspired by beautiful art, and she turned this art into architecture. She might have been inspired by explosion and fragmentation, and she turned that into paintings. She was very excited about the fluidity of contemporary life. She created these paintings and then turned it into buildings. This is a fire station. That was an interpretation of form and function in her own way as a painting, and she turned it into her first big project. So now my colleagues in the office have used thousands of sketches of Zaha Hadid and turned it and trained an AI to recreate sketches of Zaha. Here you see over thousands paintings in front of your eyes. And these are now paintings that are completely created by an AI algorithm that has kind of learned to mimic Zaha Hadid. Of course, we don't use this anymore for our architecture. We moved way beyond. But it is really interesting to see the power of AI in our day and time. So one way of using this, we would have sketches, and then we have an algorithm that looks at the sketches and sees something in it based on these billions of images the algorithm has seen before. So it's kind of an algorithm dreams of what the sketch could become. And sometimes it sees different things in the sketch than we as creators of the sketch might have seen. And that sparks inspiration. So when we work in the office on a design project, we would create a whole range of images in the past, like things that we like, and increasingly we have a lot of design, like AI-generated images on it. So out of this whole range of creations, we select things that we really like, or we combine ideas and start then to model it in our usual way on the computer. So that's a back and forth between humans and the AI. Here you see, in the middle of a design process, someone might have thought, oh, I want to do this roof differently. So that person might call up a lot of variations of this roof design and then take this as a next step. Today we can also, and it's quite exciting, we come back to the idea of sketching by hand, and AI can turn the sketches into something realistic. And that we can also not only do with buildings, but also, as you see here, with cities. Someone sketches on the iPad. This AI knows blue is water, green is green and forest, and brown are buildings, and it kind of auto-completes these sketches into kind of detailed cities. So it's a kind of a detailed sketching tool. Of course, the one is more abstract than the other, and quite quickly this AI has a good sense of proportion, and we could maybe quickly see, does this work, or we can go through many, many different iterations quite quickly. When my colleagues work, they might design the building, but the client would want to see an animated city. So in the past, we would take days to model the city, put textures on it, render it, and make it beautiful. Today, we can concentrate on the design object, and AI completes the things that we are actually not designing. Some of my colleagues even created algorithms that, on AI, that helps in our design process. Every few seconds in this program, the AI makes an automated, animated AI view of it, and that helps the designer to better understand the atmospheres of the space. Or here, you see here the design software. The architect might scale here the buildings, and you see how the AI then kind of applies its previously seen city knowledge and completes the city. So, and you see when it's slower, it uses residential buildings. When it will scale it up, it becomes towers. So it applies different typologies. When I use with my team AI, we have created algorithms to understand spaces better. So here in our design environment, we can immediately see what effect it has if we move the core of a high-rise building around on the floor plate. And we understand the light blue means there is an area of better visibility, and that is for many applications in office, that is a positive thing. So we're creating kind of a design tool with immediate analysis. Very often we also use AI as a communication tool. So for example, a client might say, oh, I like the building but not the lower part. So we would erase it, we would prompt what the client wants to see, and AI would bring us a few variations. In the past, maybe 5 architects would have worked a whole week to actually only find out what the client really was thinking about. Now we show this to the client may say, oh, this is really not what I wanted, and I want it simpler, and I want this or that. So it becomes a communication tool. In the office, we have now a group of people, they use different design languages and they make custom models. So you see a custom model for exteriors, one for master plan, one for interior. And when it's applied, you could, for example, see this kind of composition on the top, and the different algorithms create different facade on this initial massing. And that is actually an application of different design philosophy we might try on a design project. Or on interior spaces, we might try different atmospheres and different characteristics of the space. So really, we can use words to prompt the environments and create a whole lot of different visuals in order for us to better understand which way we want to go with the design. So it kind of enlarges the possibilities for us. What's very exciting, we are now moving into an area where we can directly form matter by words, like words, prompt to product. So you talk about a chair, AI creates a 3-dimensional object of the chair, and then we can immediately 3D print it. I acknowledge it's an ugly chair, but we are in 2025. Wait a few months or years, and we can completely use words to describe and create objects. And then once we have created them, we have now the tools to 3D print entire furniture, and show you later what students did with this possibility. Or we can prompt directly and say, in this space, I want a sofa here, over there, I want some kind of a work area, a focus area, and AI will shift furniture around in space. So now I come to the second part, AI as a problem solver. So this is the hardworking engineer who would measure the distance from every desk to every other desk, and we can now compare different options, like a rectangular layout or a more organic layout, and we realize that organic layouts might have shorter distances. Why is it important? Because the communication potential of every single desk is reliant on proximity, and it's an inverse exponential effect. So we found out that in areas where we normally place the bosses, we have 30% less communication ability because you have less people in your proximity. Or we go and measure how many people can I see from every single workplace and which kind of area can I overview. These are important measures then to take decisions later on. Or here I can see how much facade can I view from my desk. And we then use that to understand better how we proceed with our designs. This one is a project that we recently completed. It is a tower in Hong Kong. And the way we designed this, our colleagues would come up with all these beautiful options. And then my team would immediately slice it and analyze it and give feedback to the architects. And they would then take that on board and optimize the tower for really important parameters. So we took that one step further. We were wondering why are most of the office buildings center core towers, and we went through all the possible options for a simple 50 by 50 meter tower. And these are 100,000 options, and here you can see them unfolding. Where this leads to is that algorithms start to self-drive design. And the example I want to show you is a whole city we designed in China. And here, the algorithm would be able to position a volume on many, many different places, and it would automatically create these outlines and then analyze each one of them in terms of light penetration, but also in terms of cross visibility. And what's interesting, here are the poor performers, that they have a small floor plate, they have very little light and very little cross visibility, and the further up you go, the more area you have, the better it's lit, and the better it is has visual qualities. And there are many beautiful forms in this field, and we know for every single one how good it performs. And so these are the ones the computer created and we kind of agreed with, like a pearl chain and some bird-like figures. Yeah, and going further with this design of the city, we were wondering, can it really, how do people walk through this city? So we created a computer game that allows colleagues to walk through the city, and an algorithm would learn from decision-taking of humans. Especially the question, would the person at this position move towards the right or rather move towards the left? And so similar to an algorithm might learn the characteristics is this characteristic more like a dog or this characteristic more like a cat? This identifies which formal characteristics would make people turn right or which one would make them turn left. So once the algorithm learned how humans navigate through space, it can walk itself. And then if you walk hundreds and thousands of times, then you realize there are areas where people more often arrived at, and you like it or not, you can then change the design to make it to where you want people to go, how people should find different parts of the project. And this is almost completed, as you can see. It's a city for 80,000 AI engineers in China. So it has been built in 3 years, 3.5. And it's quite exciting because so many cities in China look quite random and chaotic. This one looks quite refined and out of one kind of formal language. So once we have designed spaces, we created this kind of test population. You could have possible users walk through space. You can measure what they see, where they walk, how they encounter. And then with that, we can then test different design options. And we look at the traces of people. We can see how they move, where they moved in the past, where the sounds are created, what are the best vision places, and where are the most encounters. And when we compare different design options, it helps us to take decisions. So where does it lead to? Our goal is to create buildings that learn and self-improve. And this is Infinitus project, a project that has been designed using algorithms to find atria positions or the best locations for cores. And we have applied these tools to identify which are areas that are better for focused work, which are better for independent teams or interdependent teams. So these heat maps are for us a kind of design guide map in space. And with a kind of kit of parts, we think we could now have algorithms that select different work settings. They are scalable and interchangeable, and then use it to self-design spaces. Here the light makes sure that work desks are further at the edge. The circulation pushes away those elements, and we can then measure how well it performs, or we could also have manual intervention. So this is just a test. It's still far from being able to be in the real world, but it's very exciting for us that this is possible. So another aspect is that we want to create buildings that are supportive to the people living in it on a daily basis. Like you could have a weather forecast, kind of where are the qualities of the space, where is warm, where is it more humid, where is the air worse and better, and so on. We can now match people with the best location for each of them. And where in the past we could look at available desks in space, now it's increasingly possible to find suitable places for people when they look for one. But some may be wanting to work at the preferred space, wherever they work best. And there must be some ideal places for people, and we are seeking those out with algorithms. And so the most important thing is, of course, also to then learn from the feedback of people and bring that into the improvement of buildings. So buildings with memory, of course, buildings operate in different ways over time. So we use sensors to understand how buildings work, how they work over time, and we take decisions and conclusions out of it to improve the spaces and ever increase the usage. Here we looked at booking behavior in our office, and we found out that after people came back from COVID, they can sit wherever they want. They seem to have chosen places as far away from each other as possible. But we are now able to measure how much relative proximity teams had to each other. And here you see over time, just looking at one team, how it worked over time on a building. And we are quite interested in the data analysis of these teams. This big clump is actually one large floor, and the three smaller lumps are three other floors, and we want to understand how people work across this floor. And there are differences. January 2024 looks different to May, and we found out when people come back after Christmas, it looks very different. The way they come together is very, very different. So at the end, I show you a few projects from the Münster School of Architecture. One of my students, or three of my students, they thought, oh, why don't we use, because it's so, to move matter is always expensive and difficult, why don't we use light to improve buildings? So they used the early versions of ChatGPT to talk to the algorithm and say, I would like a space that is like this and that. It would listen, create a prompt that you see here, and then it created images of the spaces that they describe and projected it onto the walls. And that's a powerful way of thinking about space, that it's not just a space, it's also something that can evolve. Another student, he was really keen, he didn't care about the physical world. He said, I want to create a space because I don't want to be in this boring building. I take my classes and I want to be in a paradise. And now you see how the algorithm creates a paradise for him, and it's surrounding him. It's a three-dimensional space in which he wanted a mountain, a beach, and here he got it, and he can really immerse himself in that. And another one, which I found quite amazing, he wanted to be in an impressionistic painting, and so the AI created this painting for him. And it struck me when I saw that you could be inside a painting, and that is so cool. You look around and you're surrounded by the painting. So one of my students, because now with AI you could talk to any object, so she said, oh, why don't we use columns that are everywhere and make it into objects to which we can talk? And she used our new 3D printer, a large-scale 3D printer, to create these beautiful columns. And just like you can press your iPhone and you get this kind of colorful light, this would kind of flash up and it might start talking to you. And here she is printing ahead with this robot. You could today print furniture scale, building scale, plastic things. And she made big use of that. And then lastly, the instant transformer. I want to show you one project we do with a company. They created this really cool rotation technology. And they started with a fridge. The things that at the back of the fridge often go bad. So here, this is a product that's already available. Then they came to us and said, well, we want to scale this up, but we don't know anything about office spaces. So we worked with students to create this rapid transformable furniture pieces that allow different ways of using space. Or this is a meeting room that could be a circular sitting, or you could have 2 separate meetings or 4 very small meetings. So it's a very fastly, you don't need to bring an electrician in or a facility manager. You can quickly transform your space. And we scaled it up also to a WORKTECH. This is our lab. These are my students. And you could work away from each other, and you rotate it, and then you bring it towards each other. And I think that's quite exciting. And they already, with a company called Kuhn, they already created a product that can be rotated, and you could rotate work desks, you can rotate bookshelves and everything. We kind of call it spintelligence. It's furniture that actually starts to becoming intelligent. So these are 4 platforms with different content. So you have potentially 256 different combinations, and it's very hard to understand which combinations are good and which are not so good. But you could see this one is probably one of the best ones, but you could have very, very different ways how people work with each other or interact with each other. So we started to look at every single option, and we measured how each option performs and how you see, how you feel out, and so on. So with this technology, you can rotate anything and create really, really interesting furniture. And again, 256 possibilities. So reflecting on all of this, I realized, similar to how refined oil, AI is a refinery of data. And AI transforms data into power. And with power comes responsibility. You can create terrible things with technology, as we all know. And you could use oil to create toxic plastics, but you can also use it to make medicine that heals us. So for us architects and designers, it is actually a duty to create solutions that support and help everyone, not just the few. And together with my colleagues at Zaha and my students, we are working on AI projects that create environments that take us into new worlds, new virtual worlds, but also help to improve our physical worlds and the world around us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ulrich. Wow, ¿cómo quedaron? Impulsando el futuro, cómo la IA transforma el diseño del espacio de trabajo, la arquitectura y las ciudades. Esta charla que escucharon fue auspiciada por Tecno Spa y también por Interior Forma. Okay, you have your device. We don't have so many time, but I have some question for you. Which AI is ZH using popular ones lean purple? Your presentation shows a diverse future, but reality feels purple. Where are we headed? Here.
Which one? Okay. Sorry, I can't quite find it.
Oh, it disappeared. Okay, another one.
Yeah.
How do you approach decision making as an architect, and what remains distinctly human in your process despite AI's influence?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question, because AI creates thousands and millions of results in no time. What we really need, what's missing, is human intention. So it is still the architects that are the humans that connected to the real world. And AI cannot take LLMs, maybe they're decision-making deep learning algorithms, but I think for the time being, the good news is we still need humans, we still need architects, and the distinctly human part is really the creativity that goes beyond from the averaging out of these algorithms. So when we design, we never say so when we prompt, we don't say get us a project looking like Zaha Hadid. No, we looked at 60,000 prompts in the office, and only 20% used the word Zaha Hadid. It's better not to do it because you get old stuff. If you want to do something new, you take new words and you recombine words of different fields, and it's a creativity engine.
Okay. So this one, in your experience, this is the first one I have read. What is the current composition of an architecture team during a concept design stage using these technologies and methodologies?
Yes. Actually, even at Zaha Hadid Architects, with so many people that are really good with technology, some people are too busy with their projects to really get into these new technologies. So we often then combine it with teams. We have a technical group, some who are really good at AI, our team, the BIM team. So a lot of teams then support the design teams with these technologies. But it is a process that needs constant learning, and every week we find new tools, and we need to look into them, how to use them. But the most important thing is to really be open-minded about it. We've taken the decision to try to find the good things within the field, the new possibilities of AI.
Okay, thank you, Ulrich, so much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.